Hello, everyone. We're just going to give it one more minute to let people join the webinar. All right, I think everybody is in. Okay, let's get started. Welcome, everyone, to the new standard for being found online. My name is Danielle Henderson. I am the Vice President here at YPC Media. And joining to me today is none other than Jim Podanovsky. He is a Vice President at CGI and HelloNation and has been in sales for over 25 years. He has an extensive background in all things digital media and marketing. He's a veteran of the Armed Forces. I just found out he's lived way more places than I thought: Boston, the South, but he now resides in upstate New York, and he helps businesses across the nation to stand out in their local markets. He's one of our key experts for our new offering with HelloNation. Jim, welcome, and thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited about this.
Me too, because today we are going to be doing a true Q&A, everyone. We're going to be talking and answering a lot of the frequently asked questions when it comes to AI and how this is changing the search environment. We're going to be talking about HelloNation and how the noble narrative and your own story is now one of the most powerful marketing assets you have. If you have questions, we want this to be as valuable to you guys as possible. If you have questions as we go through, please do not hesitate to put them in the chat or in the Q&A section. We'll be monitoring those, and anything that we don't answer during this webinar, because we only have 30 minutes, we will answer in our insiders group. So if you're not a part of the YPC insiders, at the end, we will have a QR code for you to scan to join and get answers to more questions as they come around. Also, if you have not had a consultation regarding HelloNation with your account manager yet, I encourage you to set that up. You can set it up directly with them or scan the QR code to request a consult. And if you missed our previous HelloNation webinar in October, this is also a QR code that you can scan to watch that when we're done here today. I'll give you a second. All right. So, Jim, I'm going to let you start by setting the stage for us before we get into these questions.
Okay, perfect. When Danielle and I were working on this, I want this to be impactful and I want it to be educational. I hope you all take something away from this. So this is kind of to set the stage for your mind as to what we're going to be going over today. Is this is based off human behavior, right? And I read a book many years ago. It's a great book if you can find it. I don't know where they sell it, but I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. And it's called 101 of the Biggest Business Blunders of All Time. And I know most people know who Jeff Bezos is as the founder of Amazon, and they all know the story. Oh, yeah, he started selling books out of his garage, which is true, but it's only partly true. When he originally started that company, he wasn't selling New York Times bestsellers or Oprah's Book of the Month Club. He was selling highly collectible, like first edition Oliver Twist and these highly collectible books. And as he's going and having some success selling these highly collectible books, one day he said, I think I could sell every book. I think people would buy all books. And nobody cared except for Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, Borders Bookstore, and every mom and pop bookshop in America. And they went, oh, this Bezos, I don't like this guy. Well, as he was going and getting successful, and he said, I think I could sell everything here. I think people would buy toothpaste and electronics and clothes, and they'll buy everything. But I don't know the first thing in the world about retail sales. I'm a computer nerd who loves books. So he went and he saw the people that invented retail sales. He went to Sears. That was the first meeting. But he saw Macy's. He saw J.C. Penney. He saw the Walton family at Walmart. Not all in one big room. He went individually, but he went to Sears first. And when he went to Sears and they go, yeah, we know who you are. This is a great idea. But let me tell you something. No one will ever buy a pair of pants without trying them on first. No one would ever buy a pair of shoes without walking in them. This is great for books, but good luck with your little endeavor. All of them told him that. Sears, Macy's, J.C. Penney, Walmart. And then guess what he did? He crushed them. And if you don't believe me, go to the town you live in and go to where the Sears used to be, and I'll show you a pile of rubble. And then if you go to the mall, every mall in America, the end stores were Macy's and J.C. Penney, and I'll show you the stain on the wall that you could clearly read. Used to say Macy's, now says Louis Trampoline Park, fun for the whole family.
So true.
This is not about a product or a service. This is about human behavior. And it is, since caveman day to current day, human beings will always choose the easiest, simplest way to complete any task. And that's what we're going to be going over as to how you can implement these things for your business on the internet, understanding human behavior.
I think this is great because AI, we've all talked about it a ton, right? At YPC Media, in our businesses, how to use it. And I think the reality of it, like you said, it all comes down to human behavior. And I think what people really are trying to understand is how this is changing search in the real world and human behavior in the real world. So we'll get into the first question, which is from your perspective, how is the landscape of search changing with the introduction of AI?
So, as you know, and some of you might not know, on January 1 of 2025, Google implemented AI into their search. You woke up that day, did your first search, and it looked different. It is called Gemini. Since that day, January 1, 2025, they have spent over 100 billion with a B dollars in this. Google believes this is the future of search. So how it's changing is based on right out of the gate when you can see the numbers that I think it was in the first month, 40% of searches were what are called no-click searches. They did a search, AI gave them the answer. They didn't have to do any further investigation or clicking. They got their answer and they were gone. It is now over 70% and climbing. Answer engine optimization is the future of search.
So, with that being said, people are not searching the same way as they were before. You just mentioned it, zero click searches. So, how is this changing how local businesses are being found today?
So I want to be clear on this, that the algorithm that Google uses to prioritize and list information is still very, very important. AEO, all the things you need to do to show up relevant are still very, very important because the algorithm runs off that, but it's part of it. And understanding the algorithm and how you can show up as the answer instead of being in a list. This is a quote from Google. I read it 4 months ago. It is no longer about winning the click. It is now about becoming the answer.
And that right there is why we're going to get into talking a little bit about what you add into the mix. And Jim, you said it. People always come to us and say, is SEO dead? SEO is not dead. It is still such a big part and foundation of what we do. But with the changing times, there are new things that need to be done and layers that need to be added. So with that, people are going for the answer. And a lot of times AI, right, is the person that's giving us that answer. They're deciding who the consumer sees and who they trust. So what is advertising and why is it so important to that AI search?
So understanding Google's algorithm and how it puts forth information, I'll give you an example. Everybody here, and I'm sure you could, the old 70s TV show Match Game. If I give you a half a word, see if you can complete this. Wicca.
Pedia.
Yeah, everybody knows that. You know why?
That's
For
right.
20 years, 20 years, you can search for anything. And one of the top things that comes up is the Wikipedia, right at the top, because Google's algorithm is thirsting for quality, trusted information with no call to action, no links to website. Wikipedia does not make money. There's no banner ads. There's no links or phone numbers there. It is trusted, credible information, and the algorithm feeds off of that. So when it comes to advertising, which is educational as opposed to advertising that we all grew up with, the second you have a URL or a phone number or any call to action, not only will it never make it to the top, the algorithm will repel it.
which is wild. So, in simple terms, some of these people are hearing the words advertising HelloNation for the first time. So, if you had to put it in simple terms, what is HelloNation and why is it going to be such a game changer for search and what we're talking about today?
So, in a quick sentence of what it is, HelloNation is a good news network of community experts, and it is national, but it has a hyper local focus. Every town in America has a HelloNation magazine.
And how many towns is that?
It's over 32,000 video magazines, 1.4 million pages of content.
That had to take a lot of time and energy to put together, I'm guessing.
Very long time and a lot of
Yes.
money.
So, with that being said, this we have advertising and we have Hello Nation, which is a community-based magazine. Hello Nation has a lot of different layers, and just like anything that we see when it comes to SEO, GEO, AEO, whatever it is we're talking about, trust takes time, right? Expertise explaining that and getting that into the algorithm and into the hands of consumers takes time. So I do want to talk about the relationship that Hello Nation has with the US Conference of Mayors and why that relationship is so impactful and how that really looks and plays into the experience of solidifying yourself as the expert through Hello Nation.
Yes, I'll tell you, we have been partnered with the United States Conference of Mayors for over 20 years, since 2005. When they approached us over 5 years ago for this endeavor, which is to be completed this coming July 4th, 2026, for our nation's 250th birthday. Those of you that don't know, this coming July is our nation's 250th birthday. So when they approached us for this, they had two major caveats. Number one, there can be no advertising, zero advertisers. And number two, if we were going to do this, we had to do every city and every town in the country, from the smallest town in America, which happens to be in Nebraska, has a population of one. You can look it up on the internet. One woman lives there. She runs the tavern, she runs the store, and she's the mayor of this town, all the way to New York, New York, and we did it. And when you look at the scope of this thing, it is mind-boggling. But what does that all mean to the average person who's like, oh, this is great? But you have to understand the core soul of Google's algorithm is an acronym called EAT, EEAT, and it stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. These are core elements, and they feed into the AI answer. I don't want to
And
bore
with
everybody with internet nerd talk and algorithms, but if you understand this, it all makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that we talk a lot about consistency and trust and how that feeds in the US Conference of Mayors. I mean, who do you trust in your community that's running your community? It's your mayor, right? So looking at that and how long it's been around and how much power and trust and authority that branch has with Google and the communities, which is why they said every community, even the community of one, must be represented, was so important. But it also has to have immense backlinking power and history in regards to consistency and building trust over time.
Yes, the easiest way I can explain this to anybody is if you just pretend the internet never happened and it never existed. In your individual communities, whatever towns you live and have your business in, right? Just forget the internet. Just talk about you, your business in your town. You have experience and expertise in your field. Those are facts. And because you've been around doing this a long time and people in the community see your building and your sign, you have authority in that town. And then when anybody in the town says, hey, do you know a good insurance person here? And any one of your customers, that has worked with you goes, oh, yes, you got to call Joe Jones. He's the best in the town. It creates trust. These are four facts for every business. And not only are they four facts, these are the four core facts that you've built a successful business on. So, how do you do that on the internet? Because the internet does not know you. In fact, Google's not a person. There's no room at Google with 1,000 human beings turning knobs and twisting levers every time someone does an inquiry. It is an algorithm. And the soul of that algorithm is eat.
Well, and that kind of leads us into the next question that we often see is why does being recognized, and you kind of answered this already, being recognized as the online expert matter in today's search environment? We already know that 9 out of 10 people are already using AI. Most of our searches are happening online. So being the expert online is the new day age of being the expert in your community, right? But if you want to expand on why it's so important, and then on top of that, once people are distinguished as the expert, they've gotten to that spot and AI is using them as the answer. How are top performers actually using that to drive additional results in their business?
So, this is a great question. So, one of the things, let's just talk about I'm sorry, SEO as we've all known it for 20 plus years. Somebody needs a service, say plumber, Penfield, NY, and then they're given a list. And then it is the consumer's job to sift through and read reviews and look at websites and read bios and maybe look at one or two competitors and then make a decision based on what they found and processed and make a choice. That is SEO as we've known it. And it's been that way because it was the only way it could be. Well, now, and all of you, anybody listening to this, you've done a Google search of your own industry. How do I show up? How do I rank? And all of you, because I've been doing this over 27 years here at CGI and HelloNation, I know this. When I would do this with a prospect or a customer and I would show them how they show up, inevitably somebody would see someone that had less experience than them, was not nearly as good, and go, oh, how is this schlub up ahead of me? And they'd get angry. And the person that suffers from that is the consumer, because
Mhm.
the way SEO has been for 20 something years, if you don't have to be the best roofer and the most trusted, credible roofer in the town to come up number one. You just had to understand the internet better than your competitors and to do that. Well, then the consumer suffers because, hey, this guy comes up top. I think I'm going to use him, and he may not be as good. The consumer suffers. So, why they implemented AI into the search and why Google believes this is the future is to the benefit of the consumer, but they are highly, highly critical on who they select. You can't just take some schlub's money because he's willing to pay for this and make them the community expert when they're clearly not. There's criteria that has to be met, that they have to be established, credible experts in their community, 10-year minimum of their field. So there's a lot that goes into it without trying to, put everybody to sleep with nerd stuff, but it is here, it is coming, and it will only get bigger. And human behavior dictates this, not me, some guy you met 10 minutes ago, or Google. Human behavior dictates this is the future.
Yeah, and I think when you layer that in with what you're saying about the one expert answer or the answer to a question being the answer, whether someone's asking me if they should buy or rent in an area or who offers the best auto insurance, like whatever it is, the questions that they're asking, Google and AI is only going to give an answer that they trust too. So they want to make sure that they're not it's a little different than what we're used to in regards to pay to play because they want the consumer to come back to them as the trusted expert as well. So they're only going to refer who they truly know and believe to be the expert. And because they're not a person, the EEAT algorithm and all that you're talking about is really what's dictating who gets put in that spot. So it's a big thing and it's definitely an adjustment, but it's definitely a huge opportunity, I think, for business owners right now to really establish themselves. And I know you've taken a lot of calls with our clients and clients across the country. What is one thing you wish everyone who set up a call with you knew before taking that call with you? Can you
So
answer?
this is a great question too, because I'll tell you, we're a national company, and I started to see this, and I can't see anybody that's listening to us right now, but I do know this. In my almost 28 years of working with local Main Street businesses in America, first of all, there is a strand of DNA in all business owners. And I don't know what that DNA is, but it's something that allows that it's different than the average person. Something that somebody starts and builds a business has a different DNA. Well, in that strain of DNA, there is an enzyme, and it's universal. It doesn't matter the industry, doesn't matter where they are in America. There is an enzyme that for some reason they go, well, this is all good and this internet is all good and well. I could see if you were a XYZ, but let me tell you about my business. Or let me tell, I don't know if you know Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. It's a little bit, the internet went everywhere, but it skipped my town. This is not real. It didn't skip an industry. It didn't skip a town. This is happening everywhere. And this is human behavior. It is not like a fad or a trend. It is human behavior that has been the same since caveman day to current day. The simplest, easiest way to complete a task, that's what everyone will do.
Yeah, and I think having the open mind when you come in to see this
Yes.
human behavior is dictating what's happening right now, and that like this may feel new, but everyone is doing it and it's here to stay. You and I were just laughing about COVID and work from home and all these things that have changed since then. It's only going to keep evolving and become even more important as we go along. And I actually got a question that came in. I hope that I am saying this the right way, but with all the cities that we have for HelloNation, and I know that I don't want to answer for you. I'm gonna let you answer.
Yeah.
But why are people not hearing about HelloNation? Like, why is that not the forefront if there's been so many cities and it's in so many places? I think I understand what they're asking. So if you want me to answer.
I really don't understand. Why haven't they heard about it? I'm not sure. I think
I think that Jim, I think that what they're trying, and I could be wrong, so if you are asking questions, please keep going. Hello Nation and the way it's built is to highlight the expert. So if you were to search for any of the questions, the answer will have, maybe it has Hello Nation cited, or the articles that are written, you'll see Hello Nation, but it's not Hello Nation that is being at the forefront of the answers. It's the expert that is relative to the search that's being done or the question that's being asked. So let's pretend, Jim, you are the muscle car expert of America, and someone asks a question about who knows the most about, I'm not very good with cars, so shouldn't have used this, but some special vehicle. Jim, you're going to come up powered by Hello Nation in the background. So really what the program is doing is building up the experts in the local communities. I think that was what the question was asking.
I'll trust you on that. I didn't understand the question. Why? I thought he said, why doesn't more people know about this? I don't know. But I've
Yeah,
known
like
about it for
why isn't it
5 years.
like Wikipedia where everybody
Yeah.
knows to go to Wikipedia? Because it's not a search. Hello Nation is not it's not like a Reddit or a place to get answers. It is an opportunity and a program that helps local experts become the go-to in their community and in their field. So it wasn't designed for people to go Google Hello Nation and then ask the questions. It was built around building up the communities.
Ah, that makes sense. That makes
Right.
sense. Yep.
The next question is, we've talked a lot about all the things we can do, not just on this webinar. Literally every time we're talking to a client or we're hosting the last 3 webinars, we're talking about you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, and it can be overwhelming. So if there's one thing that you would tell business owners to do today to get ahead of the AEO curve, what would it be?
To read everything you can find and understand what it is and what's happening. You can do searches, click the microphone or type it with your fingers and say, what does Google believe is the future of search? It's going to give you an answer. You can read about it. You're going to go, I don't even know what that is. Do a search on whatever that, you don't know what it is, but to read and understand this. I spoke at a conference in Delaware back in the fall, and 300 and something real estate professional realtors. And there was a guy that spoke before me, and he said something very profound. He was speaking on all things AI. It was different than what I was talking about, but I sat through his lecture. And one of the most profound things I heard is everybody hears the buzzwords AI is coming, it's going to replace everybody, it's going to get you, it's going to attack you like Terminator, right? And people are all up in arms about AI and what is it, right? Well, this speaker, and I wish I could remember his name to give him credit for this, but I don't recall. And he said, everyone in the room, I want you to take a big, deep breath and a sigh of relief. You will not, no one in this room will be replaced by AI. You will be replaced by those that are using AI. And that I
Powerful.
believe.
It's true. It's a tool to empower you and help you enhance your business and your processes, not take over. But you're right. That is a very powerful thing.
Yeah,
It's not going to be
understanding
by
what it
AI
is and how
itself.
it works. Understand what it is and how it works so that you are educated in your decisions of things you're going to do with it.
Yeah, and I think that's why people come to these webinars too. Everybody on this call is already taking a step ahead to learn more and be ahead of the curve and lead in their industry. So thank you to those of you who did join because you already took one step in the right direction that Jim is talking
I
about.
say to anybody, if you truly are an expert in your field and you deserve this, you should reach out because it's going to be somebody. And I'll tell anyone listening to this, because this is so new, it's early adapter, it's the first year. There's not identified experts in any town. So if you ask who's the best plumber in whatever town you live in, it will give a canned, and in quotation, the word best is very subjective, but here's a list of several. Until there is an identifiable answer, and then they become the answer.
Yeah, and Jim, you said to me one time that this is one of those opportunities where you're either going to look back and say, "I'm so glad that I did this because it changed my business and my life," or you're going to look back and say, "I wish I did that." How many things have we seen that happen with ideas, turns of events in not just marketing, business all around? And I thought that was really something to really think about in regards to, do you set up an appointment? Do you take the time to look into this for your business? This is, like you said, 1 year land grab opportunity to be at the beginning of something and really grab onto it and be the best, be the expert in your area. So I know there's probably additional questions that may come in today. Okay, this is one more question. Oh, what's happening with SEO? And I'll answer this question. So basically, what now with SEO? Like Jim said, with SEO, you still have to do that. It is still feeding that expertise and trust, the EAT model and the authoritativeness. It's a long game, right? You have to play it the long way and the right way, and it's still feeding into the algorithm. This is just a new opportunity to play in this space and get yourself to be established as the expert by utilizing the new tools available. So no, you don't stop your SEO, you just build on your SEO. Would you agree?
I agree completely, and I'll explain it to anybody this way. The Google's core fundamentals of their algorithm, which are all the SEO stuff for 20 years, you got to have the ratings, you got to have reviews, you got to have all your NAP score and NAP rating
Yep.
in order, not to get into that. But this is not what the thing that is going to change is the way human beings use it. Where we used to look at the list and go through the reviews, we can now get a definitive answer. It's the same thing. I don't know. I can't see anybody. I don't know how old they are, but it's the same thing. Like the Yellow Pages worked for 108 years, and it was perfectly simple and easy to grab that book and look up insurance and pick your guy and make a call. It was easy. It wasn't hard. You didn't break a sweat doing it. But then Google came along and it was much easier. And so everybody did it. And 15 years later, the Yellow Pages, a 108-year-old industry, does not exist anymore. Well, now this is the next level, and it's not going to take 15 years to put how the user used to interact with the results to sleep. We're talking 2 to 3 years. The robotic caveman speak of plumber, Penfield, NY is going to be laughable in 2 to 3 years because now you can ask it a question like a person, multi-tiered. You could say, who is the best insurance company that's run by a female-run business? And it will scan everything and give you an answer.
And
It's
when you
it.
say scan everything, it's still the you that includes the consistency. We talk about trust. Trust takes time. It's that consistency, having a good reputation online, your reputation management, all the consistent NAP information, being synced in the rest of network because you never know who they're going to pull from. All that stuff feeds into the EEAT, which feeds into the AEO.
Correct. Correct.
So don't get nervous. Everything that you guys have done and worked on is going to feed into this new world that we are living in. So it is already, I don't know how, 12:30. So Jim, thank you
Yeah.
so much for answering all the questions today. And again, you guys, here's our Facebook group if you'd like to join. We will, if you have more questions, do not hesitate to reach out to us there. Jim or I would be happy to answer any and all of those questions. Feel free to get in touch. And if you are looking to learn more about how you can become the expert in your local area, please reach out to your account manager. And again, have a great day, everybody. Thank you, Jim. And we'll
Thank
see
you for
you all
having
next
me.
time.
Hopefully I was helpful and people got some insight into this.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone.